Hello everyone, and welcome to another Bottled Sky devlog. This video, I'll be going through some of the small bugs I encountered during and after developing features for Bottled Sky version 0.1, which I called the minimum viable product. I'll also include some small unfinished details that I didn't prioritize while developing some features. There aren't too many, so I'll keep this short and get right into it. This task is more of an unfinished feature of the loot system. I want most loot in the game to get picked up automatically by the entity that earned the loot. Most of the time that entity is you, but later when I developed the first enemy of the game, I didn't give it an inventory and it therefore cannot collect loot. I'm going to do a few things here. I'll give the enemy an inventory so it can collect items. I'll give the enemy some crafting recipes so it can convert those items to some other unique items. And I'll have the enemy drop all of its inventory items when defeated. This doesn't quite solve the problem though, because future entities that might not have inventories will still trigger the same problem, and asteroids still won't drop anything. For example, if a mine explodes and destroys nearby asteroids, the asteroids should still drop items, even though the mine won't exist after the fact. This isn't confirmation that mines will be in the game, it's just a reasonable example to future-proof for. Okay, now that that's fixed, let's move on to the next one. This was another unfinished feature that I didn't prioritize to save some time making the last video. When the animal does its repel attack, I want it to knock away everything nearby, not just the shuttle. To fix this, I need to code the asteroid's behavior to react to my effect zone system. I then found some unexpected behavior with the knockback effect caused by how the drilling ability always locks the driller and target in place. I shuffled some code around so that the lock is removed before the effect is applied, and now when the animal does its repel attack, nearby asteroids are flung away just like the shuttle. Okay, 2 bugs down. Our next issue is that the enemy repel attack doesn't do any damage. Again, this one isn't really a bug, I just didn't code it to do any damage at all. I'd like the repel attack to deal some damage to encourage players to avoid getting hit by it, but also potentially destroy any nearby asteroids if their health is low enough. Fixing this took less time than it took to talk about it, so let's move on to the next task. Bug number 4. This one is actually fixed now. I mentioned in the last video that the repel attack and projectiles both use the effect zone system, but asteroids weren't coded to react to effect zones. But when I fixed bug number 2, I coded asteroids to be affected by effect zones, and now they do take damage from projectiles. Easy. Let's move on. Okay, we're halfway. Bug number 5 is really a bug, and I thought I wrote code to prevent this, but it isn't working. When projectiles have been flying off screen for enough time, they should get disabled so that they can be reused later. Since this isn't happening, more and more projectiles will keep getting created, which will potentially affect performance. I fixed the problem now, on to the next one. The 6th bug is a funny one. So the way the drill works, when the hitbox on the drill encounters another hitbox, it will do a search on the object it found and see if it meets certain criteria. It doesn't just check that one object, however, it will also check all parent objects upward in the hierarchy. This is intended behavior, but the problem is that projectiles are child objects of the enemy. So when the drill makes contact with a projectile, it searches the enemy too, and that meets the criteria to start the drilling action. All I have to do is ensure that the projectiles are not child objects of the enemy. Another easy fix, 3 to go. Bug number 7 is behavior I didn't code in because I couldn't prioritize it at the time, but now I can fix it up. This is an easy feature because I can reuse the feature I made for the enemy that causes it to disappear after some time when fleeing from the player. Almost done, we're on a roll. The 8th bug on the list is actually more of a problem with polish than an actual bug, which I suppose I could push this until later, but to make it onto this list it must bother me enough to make me want to fix it sooner rather than later. It might be a little bit hard to see in the video, but the camera seems to zoom in and out at a constant rate. The target zoom level is tied to the shuttle's speed. The actual zoom level changes linearly to approach that target zoom level. This sometimes causes abrupt stops in zoom or sudden change from zooming in to zooming out. It will take me a little bit of time, but I'm mostly just fiddling with numbers to get the game feel I want. And now for the final bug. This is another feature detail that I couldn't prioritize because I was unsure of how long it would take to make, and it wouldn't have mattered for making the previous video that I was running late on. At the time, I also hadn't decided how I wanted it to work. I could require the player to hold down a button for a few seconds before the item gets picked up. I could require a single button press, but lock the shuttle into a short delay. I could also do both and have an accessibility setting to toggle between the two modes, because I know some people have trouble holding down a button. For now, I'll try making the button hold feature and make a note to build this accessibility toggle later, since I don't have a settings menu to toggle anything right now anyway. There's one more thing I want to do before I call this finished. I actually wanted the drop from the enemy to be more like an object that breaks open to reveal several items, rather than just being one individual item. I can combine the loot system with the interaction system without the need for much code at all. That's it for all the known bugs of Bottled Sky version 0.1. I might do one of these after every major update. I'm guessing most bugs will be pretty small and easy to fix, because anything that's too big and annoying will get fixed earlier, but sometimes funny ones slip through. Let me know in the comments if this is something you'd like to see more of. Thanks for watching, that's all for now, and I'll see you later.